Hey everybody, it's Fox Rose and I'm here to spread some knowledge. Some people ask me when they see my beautiful necklace that my high priestess gave me is, are you pagan? Are you witch? Are you Celtic? How about I'm all three? Yeah, I'm all three. I'm going to tell you something, and a lot of people might get offended when I'm fixing to say, but that's okay because it's absolutely the truth. Number one, I'm going to use this, oh boy, I had a visitor jump on my table. I'm going to use this little adage that people hear sometimes. Now, all bourbons are whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbons. The same goes for witches. Excuse me. Not all pagans are witches, but all witches are pagan. Here's where you're going to get mad at me. There is no such thing as a Christian witch. I'm sorry, but there's not. They may think that they're doing all this good and casting these spells to help people, and they may be, but they're not Christians. They're pagans. They just, I guess, don't realize it. I don't know, but there's no such thing as a Christian witch. So with that being said, I'm going to give you a few terms and definitions, and then we're going to go through what my actual message for today is. So here's a couple of terms and definitions of Wicca. Some people may know these, and some may not. If you're new to my channel, which if you would like and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing some more videos and helping everybody learn. But if you're new to my channel, I'm going to talk about what Sabbats are right now. Sabbats are our 8 solar divisions of the year. They're approximately every 6.5 weeks. They mark the seasonal cycles of the sun through birth, height of power, waning, and death at Yule. But there's rebirth to follow as well. And Esbats, what is an Esbat? Esbat is 12 to 13 lunar divisions of the year. And these are associated with the triple goddess, the maiden, mother, and crone. They normally celebrate at the full moon. Some groups do celebrate at the new moon. And I have to tell you, the moon change and birth cycles are correct. There are a lot of births at the full moon. There are a lot of births at the new moon. My children were both born on the new moon. The moon changed and here we are. I was born on the new moon as well. Go figure. Blue moons. You hear once you hear somebody say, "Oh, once in a blue moon we do this. Once in a blue moon we do that." And you know what a blue moon is? A blue moon is the second full moon. Goodness gracious, she's going to knock my stuff over. The second full moon in a month, within a calendar month. It doesn't happen that often. So that's why it's called, why they use the term once in a blue moon. What is an equinox? Equinox. Think about that term. Equinox. That is the time of the year when the god and goddess are equal. There's 2. There are 2. It's also the time when the daylight and dark are equal. It happens every spring and every fall. Spring equinox, fall equinox, equal. Remember that term. Solstices. The winter solstice is the time when the dark is longer than the light in the day. It's the darkest day, the darkest time of the day of the year. The solstice, the winter solstice, and it is the brightest time of the summer, the light, and that is the summer solstice. So they're the longest times of the year. The day when the light is longer and the day when the dark is longer. Warlocks. There's another thing you might not like about me right now. I'm going to tell you the truth. There is no such thing as a warlock. A male witch is a male witch. There is no such thing as a warlock. However, warlock is a term that is used to define what has happened or is going to happen to a person who has betrayed the witch and Wiccan community, or one of their own kind. When a person becomes warlocked, they can no longer practice the craft with success. They're not allowed to join any community activities or join any covens or groups. Again, warlock does not mean a male witch. A male witch is a witch. A witch is a witch is a witch. We just had a warlocking recently. Look it up. Now, there are 9 core foundational beliefs in Wicca for many traditional Wiccans, and I'm going to touch on that here in a little bit. There are 9 core foundational beliefs. Okay, let me go ahead and touch on what I wanted to touch on. What is the difference between a traditional witch and eclectic witch? Think of the word eclectic. Look it up if you have to. Pause the video, look it up. We'll wait. So an eclectic witch is someone who has read a ton of books and has chosen from each book a tenet that they believe and that they feel good with. It feels good when you're an eclectic solitary practitioner. It feels good. Well, with me, it just got me all kinds of confused. I needed some structure, which is where I found my traditional practice. I found my teacher. And guess what? I've never been so happy in my life. I was not confused when I got my traditional roots and my traditional education off the ground. I read a book and it confused the heck out of me. It was talking about cast a circle and do this, and cast a circle and do this. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell do you cast a circle? Where do I find that information? Well, you find that information with a teacher, and if you want to do it correctly, you can do it correctly. And do it correctly you shall. This is where tradition far outweighs eclecticism. You want to learn how to do things correctly? Oopsie. You find a teacher. You want to learn how to have things happen? Find a teacher. You want to learn the truth about the path? Find a teacher. And so here's where we come into our 9 core foundational beliefs. Again, the 9 core foundational beliefs are what every traditional, or what many traditional Wiccans follow. Okay, and number 1 is we have a belief in a god and a goddess. Now we have some traditional Celtic people that say that, Celtic reconstruction groups saying that Wiccans are monotheistic because we take many gods down to the one God. And that is simply not true. That is simply not true. Don't follow. If you are in this path and you want to find out the truth, do not follow the Celtic reconstruction groups. We have a belief in many gods and goddesses. Most of us are, most of us who are Wiccan are considered duo, or that which means two, or polytheistic, which means many. I am particularly, and I am the Wiccan who is polytheistic. I believe in many gods and goddesses. We have the goddess of the earth. We have the goddess of the moon. We have the god of the sun. We have the god of animals and nature. Rivers, streams, forests, trees. We have many gods and goddesses, and it's beautiful. We have a belief in reincarnation. That one should be pretty self-explanatory. Pretty self-explanatory. We believe in a practice of magic, including both light and dark. You have to have both. You walk the gray line between the yin and the yang, and I may have those two mixed up because this is flipped around and I have no idea. Because it's flipped around. This is my left hand. So we have that fine line between the yin and the yang. It's a spiral path, and you have to walk between both worlds, because without the darkness, you can't have the light. We have a high reverence for nature. Also another one that's self-explanatory. Okay. We have a belief in the threefold law. Well, what is the threefold law, you may ask? Well, the threefold law, and I'm going to read what it says here because this is out of my High Priestess's book. I do have these written down in a different notebook, but this one is out of her book. She says, I would like to say something in relation to this belief before I attempt to explain what it is. There are some traditions of Wicca that view the threefold law as a manner of a guiding rule rather than a belief. In my opinion, she says, if you believe it works, it is a belief. And in our tradition, we do not follow we do not believe that the threefold law applies only when working in the cast circle or during spell work. It is something that is steadfast, always with us. So, it's always with us. So this is what it basically boils down to. Whatever you put out comes back threefold. Remember, okay, I don't know if anybody was taught this in kindergarten. I was, that when you point a finger at somebody, you got three more pointing back at you. Pointing, three more pointing back at you. That is the epitome of the threefold law. You, whatever you put out, comes back to you threefold. And I want to tell you that I learned that in kindergarten, and I went to a Baptist kindergarten. Okay, continuing. No belief in a devil or an entity called Satan. Well, first of all, my high priestess and myself will tell you that our suggestion is that you do some research on Satan and find out where the term came from. You should be doing, if you're on this path, you should be doing your research on Satan and Lucifer. Next, no belief in a burning pit of fire called hell. I believe that we are actually in hell now. That's just my own personal belief. It could be others. I don't know. Someone I know whose mother has passed away now. The mother believed that we are living in hell. So do your research. Research is a biggie in this path. Be prepared. And lastly, we have an adherence to the Wiccan Rede. In some traditions, there are 13 principles. And we also have an adherence of the 161 laws. Adherence means we try to apply and live by and use these as moral compasses. I want you to sit there and do me a big favor and go and research the 161 laws of Wicca. Look it up. Look it up. I mean, if you really look and you see and you read them, they are mainly pretty much self-explanatory, and it's not like something that we wouldn't want to live our life by any other way than these laws. You have to remember that as Wiccans, we are not magical, just at Sabbats and Esbats and everything else. We are magicals all the time. We are magical all the time. And remember the threefold law. What we put out, comes back to us threefold. You put out good, comes back good. You put out bad, can come back as bad. You don't want to sit there and put a curse on somebody, because what's going to happen? You're going to be cursed 3 times. Now, if that person has put a curse on you, by all means, magic looks at the caster. So again, do a lot of research, talk a lot. You can actually, if you need a teacher, and I will put it out there that if you need a teacher, I'm in Alabama. Long distance covens are hard work. They really are. But if I put the work in, I expect you to put the work in. And if you really, really want this, you will put the work in. I did. I've come from a long distance coven. So what I'm going to tell you is that if you really, really, really want to learn, and one of the things that you really, really, really need to think about is your age. When I came into this path, I was 41. Yes, 41. I have to think about that because I really don't want to admit how old I am. But when I came into this path with my teacher, I was in my 40s. There you go. And one of the things that I have learned is that when you are truly young, in your 20s, this path, there is a lot of discipline too. There's a lot of discipline in this path. And to be quite honest, people in their 20s, a lot of them are not wanting to follow that kind of discipline. They want to wait a little bit longer, and that's okay. That's completely okay. Unless you grew up in this, which I honestly, I have a daughter that's growing up in this, but let me tell you something. I want her to go to church. I want her to make the decision when she's older. She sees me. She doesn't exactly follow me, but she sees me and she sees what I do. She also goes to church with her grandparents, and that's fine with me, by all means. But what I'm getting to is that if you are looking for a teacher and you want to actually learn and you want to put in the work, and believe me, it's a heck of a lot of work, contact me, comment, send me a message. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. I'll be more than happy to help you. And if you decide that you want to do this, well, honey, here's your first class book. So call me, talk to me, tell me what you think, and like and subscribe. Comment down below, send me a message. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. Be safe, be kind to yourself, because without taking care of you, you can't take care of anybody else. Make good choices. And remember, that this path is a path of self-enlightenment. It is a path of self-responsibility. And it's a beautiful path. It's not something you can pick and choose from. You want to learn the correct way? Oh, and when I say correct way, I don't mean that my path is any different than anybody or any better than anybody else's, because to be quite honest with you, I cannot tell you if my tradition is better than anybody else's. What I can tell you is this is my path, my heritage, and that's what's good for me. If you are not Celtic, this path may not be for you. My tradition may not be for you, but there are others out there, and I can help you get into the right place. So be kind to yourself. Take care of yourself. And I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.